We're surrounded by the dumbest people on the
Was a
planet.
joke?
We posed as flat earthers and infiltrated the Flat Earth Convention. It is the dumbest group of people I've ever seen in my life.
I'll check, I've never really checked whether, that's the curvature.
Right.
I started looking into it. I found that the curvature is 8 inches per mile squared. Well, I used to be a CAD draftsman, so one of the first things I did was draw the whole thing up in AutoCAD,
Right.
And sure enough, it matched this 6 inches per mile, only for the like a quarter of the circumference of the Earth, but that's enough, really. But yes, it matched that exactly.
Is the Earth flat?
We have video from space of the rotating spherical Earth. The Earth is round.
Thank you for joining us on this episode.
This pilot, from Greece, proves flat Earth. He filmed the sun and the moon at the same time, on a flat horizon.
Από τα δεξιά έχουμε τον ήλιο που δει και από τα αριστερά έχουμε το φεγγάρι.
Wait, so how do we know that the Earth is not flat?
Have you heard of Occam's razor?
No.
It's a theory that the simplest explanation is often the correct explanation. There are so many things and explanations that prove the Earth is round,
Like
correct
what?
and true, time and time and time again.
Okay.
The same doesn't hold up for the flat Earth theory.
Let's jump right to the current world record for long-distance landscape photography. This photo defies the curvature of Earth, even with the heights of both mountains factored in.
I think the Earth is flat or round.
Who's asking?
Who do
Ruby.
you work for?
It's the question, guys.
What do you think it is?
I think it's flat. I think
And my new motto is, if you're a flat earther, ODD got your back.
I'm
We
with
need
that.
to do more of this.
I'm with that. My new motto is, if you're a truther, I got your back.
is
They have
them going to the
explanations.
moon real?
Well, I was going to ask you that.
No.
Ruby, hold
Why
on.
did they never go back?
So you don't have to believe both. Because I don't think we made it to the moon
There's a lot
either.
of lies, y'all.
What do
There's
you
a lot of
mean?
lies.
Why not? We're going back to the moon right now. We're going back. Yes,
Why
we
have they
are.
never went back
Someone's
in all
going back,
these
either we,
years?
Russia, or India. I can't remember what it is. Somebody's going back to the moon right now.
Look at this piece of crap. They literally use duct tape to seal it. And you're on the moon?
This is going to be a test. Prove that the moon is nowhere near 234,000 miles away. Watch. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Prudential building. That is as far as I can zoom out with a Nikon P900 to an object that I know the distance, 4.7 miles away. There's the moon right there, 200 plus thousand miles away. Let's zoom in. Okay, here it comes. Here it comes. All right, I must be maxed out, right? Nope, not at all. Here we go. How far I can zoom in on the moon. I can see those lights right there in that crater. I can see all these speckles right here on it. I mean, are you kidding me?
What's odd is there are people who think Earth is flat.
Right.
But recognize that the moon is round. Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and the sun are all spheres. But Earth is flat. That's not, something doesn't square.
Doesn't
there.
jive, right?
Okay?
Well, it's also not disc flying through space. That's what people think of flat Earth. That's what people think flat earthers believe. We believe that everything that we know about space is not accurate.
Yes.
NASA's not telling us accurate information and never has about space. We believe the stars and the sun and the moon are really close, not billions of light years away or anything like that. The sun is not 93 million miles away. I don't believe that. I believe the sun is a lot closer. I believe it's local. I believe we're in a lake.
Yeah.
And we're surrounded by ice.
You know what I want one example, Eddie, of why we should believe the Earth is flat.
We have plenty of evidence that we live on a flat Earth. I'm going to present those evidences again today. And there's nothing that wraps around Antarctica. No water, no planes fly over, nothing. And even less the sun. There's no sun going around Antarctica.
Since the North Pole and Antarctica are covered in ice and guarded no-fly zones, no ships or planes have ever been known to circumnavigate the Earth north-south directions. March 9th, 2016. That was the Google answer. Now, here we are 7 years later. Let's ask Google the same question and see what the answer is that it gives us in 2024. Okay, Google, can we circumnavigate over Antarctica the same way we asked in 2016? Okay, notice this time this little flat Earth thing pops up here. And then it says polar circumnavigation. Polar circumnavigation is complete navigation around the Earth through both the North Pole and the South Pole. Several parties have successfully done it. Okay, now this post took place in 1965, okay, but this didn't show up in 2016 when we searched this on Google, but if you look right down here, this wasn't entered into Google until July the 6th of 2018, after they started Flat Earth censorship.
But what these people seem to be really obsessed with is people lying about stuff and covering up secrets about like the Earth being flat or chemtrails.
Yeah,
or...
they'd like to believe there's a conspiracy.
So let's look up another one real quick. Okay, why is it illegal to fly over Antarctica? Planes can and do sometimes fly over Antarctica. It is not a no-fly zone and it is not illegal. It is just very impractical to do so. So there you go. Once again, the puppet masters at Google have changed the answer to it is not a no-fly zone and it is not illegal. Well, what did you tell us in 2016, Google? Since the North Pole and Antarctica are covered in ice and guarded, no-fly zone.
So if the Earth is indeed flat, then where does it start and end, and why don't we fall off of it? I could similarly ask NASA and modern astronomers, if outer space is indeed real, where does it start and end, and why can't we go beyond that? Antarctica is not the tiny ice continent found confined to the underside of astronomers' globes, but is rather a gigantic ice wall plateau 200 feet tall that surrounds the Earth and holds the oceans in 360 degrees around us. How far the Antarctic ice extends southwards and whether it terminates in an edge, barrier, firmament, or whether it is infinite is currently unknown and unknowable to the public thanks to the Antarctic Treaty, which prevents ordinary people from independent exploration of Antarctica.
Right, but I think you're talking about measurable things and elements and things that you could sort of expose and explain.
Vast flat surface where large bodies of water are incapable of curving. Earth, where curvature and motion cannot be detected. And then there's other celestial bodies that aren't teeming with life. And we really don't know what they are or what they look like up close. Science batters itself impotently against the barriers of the unknown. All we get is CGI from NASA and friends. The spherical Earth paradigm is coming to an end.
Earth is not a planet, and that what we call planets are the 7 wandering stars. When we say planet, remember that it's a plane enclosed in a net.
In the age of social media censorship, questioning whether or not the Earth is a globe has been deemed harmful thought. But why is this? We seem to be conditioned to think that the issue has been scientifically settled. But this is not the case. Our most popular scientists recognize that the geocentric model, where the Earth is at the center of the universe, is observably accurate. Edwin Hubble and Stephen Hawking went as far as to say that they reject the geocentric model not based on scientific reasoning, but rather because they find the thought of being at the center of the universe to be emotionally disturbing. Physicist George Ellis stated that you cannot disprove the geocentric model. You can only exclude it on philosophical grounds. The Michelson-Morley experiment in the 1880s proved the Earth was stationary, and Albert Einstein claimed this was a serious embarrassment and intended to disprove it with his relativity theory, but later admitted that he had failed to do so. We are conditioned to think that the heliocentric model is scientifically superior to the geocentric model. But when we apply scientific reasoning, we discover that this is not true. Contrary to popular thought, the scientific community has disputed the heliocentric model for centuries, such as the Earth's curvature. According to the heliocentric Earth model, the Earth is 24,000 miles in circumference, and if one were standing at sea level, they should only be able to see less than 3 miles before the surface of the Earth curves out of view. But this has been proven to be false for centuries, from the Bedford Level experiments of 1838 to modern photography. This photograph of Chicago was taken almost 60 miles away from Grand Mere State Park in Michigan. On a spherical Earth, this would be impossible. Using the Pythagorean theorem and the current dimensions of the Earth, the top of the tallest skyscraper should be 900 feet below the observable horizon. Local news explained this anomaly by claiming the image was a mirage.
And what you're seeing here is a mirage. We typically would not be able to see this from the Lake Michigan shore. We talked about this last night. Conditions are right on the lake that we're actually seeing a mirage.
They claimed that somehow light refraction and perfect weather conditions are responsible for creating a photorealistic mirage of the Chicago skyline, appearing to sit on the flat horizon from almost 60 miles away. Anomalies in the Earth's curvature can also be found in old lighthouses, able to be seen for several miles past what is possible on the heliocentric model, and weapons guidance systems that are capable of sighting targets that would only be possible on a flat plane. We are accustomed to observing ships disappearing over the curve, but with modern consumer cameras, we can observe that this seems to be an optical illusion based on light reflection and the laws of perspective. Many of us tend to think the planet is too big to observe curvature, but the empirical evidence tells us that either the surface of the Earth is a flat plane or the planet is at least 100 times bigger than we are told. Another very intriguing argument for flat earthers is Antarctica, the mysterious massive continent at our southern pole that nobody is allowed to explore. After sailing over 60,000 miles along the Antarctic coastline, Captain Cook was never able to complete the journey around the ice continent, which is supposed to be just under 12,000 miles around. Neither was James Clark Ross or the British ship Challenger. Nobody has ever successfully circumnavigated Antarctica. Many so-called flat earthers claim that these attempts failed because Antarctica is actually a massive ice barrier that surrounds the flat surface of the Earth. The azimuthal equidistant projection map, produced by the U.S. Geological Survey, has been used for centuries for the fact that all directions or azimuths are correct and all distances are at true scale. Studying this map, one can clearly see how man has been able to accurately circumnavigate the Earth on a flat plane model. And if it is in fact accurate, then it explains why after 60,000 miles, nobody has been able to completely circumnavigate Antarctica. Interestingly, this is also the map used by the United Nations. Admiral Richard Byrd, Medal of Honor winner, youngest admiral in the history of the Navy, and recipient of 3 ticker tape parades in his honor, led 4 expeditions to Antarctica. The 4th being a military operation known as Operation High Jump, with an aircraft carrier group, 4,700 men, 13 support ships, and 33 aircraft. Their stated mission was to establish the Antarctic research base Little America 4, but many believe the true nature of the secret mission was to root out the Nazis who arrived in 1939, claiming New Schwabia and setting up a Nazi presence in Antarctica. In 1954, Admiral Richard Byrd spoke on TV of an area bigger than the United States, with valuable resources, and announced a future of international exploration.
Our very distinguished guest for this evening is Admiral Richard E. Byrd.
Strangely enough, there is left in the world today an area as big as the United States that's never been seen by a human being.
Yeah.